one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks all for coming.
Yeah, you're in charge.
We have a few things on the agenda tonight. Do we have any other old business before we close out? Hearing none, we'll move on. So, no further business before the 2024-25 Board of Education President Wayne Heritage. So we are 24-25 year. So, call the 25-26 meeting to order. And is there any additions to the agenda? Hearing none? Moving right along. The consent agenda before you, there was quite a few things in there. Everybody had a chance to read those, I assume.
And there are a few that I might review, because again, it is a large consent agenda. You see the transfers there, those are per end of the year transfers that we make per KSDE and accounting guidelines and so on and so forth. And Christy does a terrific job. We work well together with that part of the end of the year, the budget year type of information. If I miss something, I'm just trying to scroll through real quick. I'm not going to go over everything, but please stop me if I miss something that you need a little more information on. You see fee structures there for next year.
Were the school meal prices, do they change much from last year?
They did not. We kept them exactly the same.
I didn't see a change, I just was curious if I was missing it
No,
somewhere.
good question. We're keeping meal prices exactly the same with our new food service company OPA. We are really focusing on hopefully having a great meal for the kids, breakfast, second breakfast, lunch, and making sure that we get as many kids served as possible and hopefully increasing our participation. One thing we are going to do with that, on the Tuesday before school starts, OPA is going to do a free lunch for our staff. So they're going to feed our staff, and I'd like for you guys to look at that on the 19th if you can. That's August 19th, to come and have lunch and take a sample meal if you like. Take in a sample free meal.
What time?
And that'll be around 11:30. I will let you know via email.
Did we not qualify for that grant?
We
Again?
do not. We do not qualify for free meals,
Okay.
unfortunately, no. It would cost us in the district.
We qualify
Yeah.
because the ratio is 26%, but because our free and reduced price lunches, or our direct certified rather, lunches are so low that it's less than, I wanna say it's like 40%,
Okay.
maybe, that we would get the reimbursement for, but we would have to make up the difference for the 60%. And
Okay.
that has to come from general fund.
And that would be to the tune of about $175,000 we'd have to pay approximately, is that right?
At least.
At
I
least
mean,
that much.
it's too much.
Yeah.
We have to
It's
get our
not worth it.
participation rate up.
Well, it's not just participation, it's our community that doesn't necessarily qualify for that direct certification
Right.
piece. So that's really the kicker. It's not about the apps even, or the free and reduced lunch apps, it's all about the direct certification numbers.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Good question. But yeah, it would cost us to the tune of at least $175,000 out of general fund, maybe more, to try to do that. And that's just a number we just don't feel like we could absorb. I'm gonna go to 3X, approval of designation of makeup day, and that's kind of an odd situation, but because we have a few extra days, just a few extra days over the 1,116 hours in our calendar, we can designate 2 additional snow days that will then allow us to not have to make up those days. We decided to declare those, in talking with Craig, Christy, and myself, as August 21 and August 22. Because we figured we're going to go to school those 2 days. We're not going to get snowed out, so we're going to be in school. If we're in school, those 2 bonus days, if you will help us with potentially with the snow days later on. So that is a weird looking, why August 21 and 22? Well, pretty good chance we're going to school there, hopefully. No snow on those days. The mileage rate, we did increase there's not that many, most of them would be special education that are driving to and from with the itinerant staff going to and from different places in the co-op. The substitute teacher pay is an increase, that's gonna be moved up to $150. That is you've heard it at linkage, trying to get more substitutes, $150 a day. That's also with our needs assessments, we've heard from our staff and asking for as many subs as possible. So you see that information there. You see on 3AD, you probably have maybe heard some information about federal funds being frozen. I just said recently, a couple hours ago, I see where there are 24 states suing the government to get those funds released. So that's still to be determined. This would have an impact on our 21st Century Learning Center after-school grant to the tune of about $69,076 if we don't get those federal funds. That's big for us to have that after-school program. Obviously, we're hoping things play out. We're hoping we're going to know something play out where we'll hopefully hear some good news somewhere before the school year starts. If not, we got to come up with some sort of a plan. Either how do we do an after-school program, or do we drop it until we get federal funding? Again, that's our biggest concern with the federal funds right now. So we'll see how this all plays out. I think there's still a lot of posturing and politicking and whatnot to go on still. And I think that might be the biggies that I noticed.
So on that 3 Alpha Delta, the recommendation on here shows approval, assuming the grant funds come later. So if the grant funds never come, this just goes by the wayside.
Correct.
Okay.
Good question.
So I think there's a lot of families that get a lot of good out of that.
I know.
Yeah.
School finance has advised us with regard to these funds to plan like your budget, like you're gonna get them, but spend it like you're not.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they've said to us.
It's a challenge, and I will say this, there are districts in much worse shape than we are because there are districts that get a lot more federal funds than we do. This is our biggie here for us, the after-school program. So we are concerned, but we're hopeful, like I said, hopeful in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we will hear some good news that will play out positively. So, more information, I'll keep you posted as I gain information. I'll stop there. Any questions?
Don't have any other concerns, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Hey, real quick,
Yeah.
looking at 3Y, it says we recommend 65, and I heard you say 65, but the recommended motion says 55 on there, so if you scroll down, I don't know if that matters or not.
It does, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
monitor, yeah.
So scroll down and change the
Okay.
motion.
I will make that note. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That 55 is what it was last year, so we
Yes.
missed that.
Thank you for catching up.
So motion to approve consent agenda items 3A through 3AF with the recommended changes. Second. Motion seconded. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, submit your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Public comment, concerns with Burlington USD 244 to everybody signed up? Who signed up? Just onlookers. Written communications. We got a thank you from the Chase. Everybody got a chance to see that?
staff need today, and summer work in the district's going well. The custodial crew's getting ready to switch over to the high school. That'll be their last building that they have with the team cleaning. They're ahead of schedule, which is absolutely awesome. Again, our grounds staff is doing a terrific job. It's hot out there, as you guys know, and they're keeping up quite well. And so anyway, kudos to them, and we really appreciate, again, our 12-month staff and those people that are helping us out in the summer. Board indicated an interest in maybe having a work session for the future facility discussion centered around BES. I don't know if you guys would like to do one in July. I know you're gonna have outage, a number of you will deal with outage, what, 5 of you guys? 5 of you board members,
Well,
and
he's
so,
gonna get busy real quick with onboarding stuff too.
Yeah, so-
right,
So, your project, I'm sure you're already feeling outage stuff, right?
yes. So it could be a
For
July
our
thing.
reviews right now.
It could be a July thing, an early August
Early
thing for our board members. I don't know.
I'm pretty open.
Oh,
That's a different feeling for you.
Yeah. Just let me know.
I can make whatever work.
Would, like an
So, yeah,
evening,
yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead,
I
James.
think Craig put out a couple dates and everybody kind of, be nice if we do it.
Okay.
What do you, good Monday?
There's
Why
not
don't we
this
see
month.
dates in here? Did we see-
No.
No, he just said, why don't we put
Just
some
spit
dates
all
out?
out.
Oh, I'm like.
He was,
see.
when is outage start and end?
October.
Oh, it's October, but, I mean, I have,
Officially, outage starts in October, some
Yeah.
people's jobs start 2
Way
months.
early.
You
I
wanna,
have, yeah, I
you
have
wanna do it on Monday
contractors
night or?
showing up the 28th.
Let me ask this question. With 5 people from Wolf Creek, is a Friday an option? You
Oh,
or
yeah,
someone
same.
open? Is a Friday,
It's fine. Just let me know.
Yeah.
is a Friday for you? Are you guys typically off on Friday or not?
There's not a whole lot going on in town here, so.
I will look at a Friday, maybe we can do
Yeah,
it
I mean,
like a
my,
Friday.
yeah, my evenings are good for a few weeks and then, yeah,
Okay.
so.
I'm gonna throw out a couple of different dates for Fridays and then just see what, or a couple different, just a couple, 3 different dates and we'll see what works. Okay?
Good.
Thank you. We had a meeting with OPA, our food, we talked a little bit, just briefly about, food service prices staying the same. Had a terrific meeting Friday. I sat in on that meeting and it was a really good conversation, or many conversations, and they answered a lot of questions for our employees. We just, had a really good work session for them, kind of put their minds at ease and so on and so forth. And basically they said, hey, you're still preparing food, cooking food, serving food and cleaning up. That's what you're doing, no matter if it's OPA or whomever. If you're serving at Outback Steakhouse, it doesn't matter. You're doing those things. So had really good conversations and good discussions. And here, the last item, Rhonda Gilbert shared with you that we.
Selena.
Oh, I'm sorry, Selena. Excuse
No,
me.
I just had a question. Did we have any staff that was not excited or
Pushback.
about it, pushback about it, or anybody that quit because of that, or
Nobody.
Not at the meeting.
At the meeting.
Yeah.
not had the meeting?
Yes, exactly. So
But prior, we heard some stuff.
some retirements. We did have some retirements. I'm trying to remember if we had anybody else other than the retirements.
We did not have anybody leave specific to us that said it was with regard to OPA.
Okay.
We had 2 individuals that were planning on retiring that did retire. One that left because they moved, half-time because she was ready to be done.
Retire.
And then another was like she had already retired, working after retirement situation too.
Okay.
But nobody said to us,
Specifically because of
we
this.
are leaving because of OPA.
Okay, good.
And they really emphasize the support they can provide for us that we just don't have. In their company, they served close to 42 million meals last year. 42 million meals. The buying power that they have to be able to get into, better pricing for us and the support for the schools. There's a number of schools around South Lyon County, if I remember right, Madison, Virgil, Linden. They can support a lot of schools in the area and, come and make a trip through many different districts on 1 or 2 days and touch base. Santa Fe Trail, if I'm not mistaken, Silver Lake, if I remember. Anyway, there's a number that are in our area, so.
And I don't remember, and that's my fault. Was it a year-to-year contract? It's, okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And the last item, Rhonda Gilbert, we went to the county commissioners meeting today, talked a little bit about the possibility of this land that we have just south of the high school. And we met with the commissioners today, just to have basic discussions, and then we did receive, right, I mentioned to you that Rhonda was putting out bids for the possibility of the drainage work, to divert the drainage work from a diagonal to kind of an L shape, if you will, L running east along Cross Street and then south along, I draw a blank on the street.
It's, Martin, or, goodness gracious.
Next to the rec center.
Kennedy.
Next to the rec center, there we go, yes.
Will it?
I can't, boy, here we are, with all of us here, and we can't, but anyway, diverting the drainage.
Oh, the one
Willis?
now.
Yes. So, having said that, I'm gonna
Right
let,
on Google Maps.
I'm looking at it.
I'm gonna let Rhonda share some information here, and then a little information on the potential bid that we did receive.
Okay, actually, and I believe it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're going down the east side and then we're going,
It'll go down the west.
west side and then go
West.
south, yes, okay, excuse me. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think it's
it'll
the
go
east.
down the west, because that's where all your drainage comes out of your high school.
Yeah.
It hits that west ditch plus the cities.
Did I say that wrong? I said it
Well,
wrong.
I
You
was
said
like,
east.
I got mixed
Yeah.
up, so that's why I was like, I wanna make
Okay.
sure we have this right, so.
But on your property, it'll be the west ditch.
Gotcha.
west
So
ditch.
long
So it'll
hospital.
be east side of that road.
Okay, I gotcha. I'm sorry.
East side.
Across from
Yeah,
Jeff
east side of
Okay.
hospital.
Yes.
We did bid it out just normal.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
I just said across from Jeff Clark.
Yes.
Yes.
So we did bid it out normal, just like what we do in our office and everything. You know, it's not just anybody could come and do this. We have the specs drawn up, and Corbin sent this to us, showed him Greg and everything. So we have those, we paid, the housing authority paid the $1,200 to get the specs that we could send out. We sent those out and we only received one bid, and that was from Victory Estimating. So, if we have any questions on the bid, Mike was gracious enough to come tonight and everything. So, basically that bid came in at $17,650. We have spent, or we knew the survey total cost would be $8,000. We did go and speak with the commission. They approved up to $4,000, and, so we do have to come up with the other $4,000, which I've already paid $1,200 of that. So, we still owe, some on that. We'll have to take care of that, or someone will have to take care of that. So we kind of, talked to the commission this morning. They didn't know when we were getting our bids in. They had just requested me last week to come and speak to them, and I told Brent to come too, and so, then we received the bids in at 11 this morning, so.
So I think the next piece of the, I guess, piece of the puzzle or move forward is depending on what our board wants to do. In terms of, now it's probably time to talk to the city, at least in my thoughts, recommendation would be, we've had general conversations with the city already. Now I think it's now getting to more specific conversations now that we know it's about a $17,000 bill to do the drainage work. There's a lot of different things. One, we approve the bid potentially to do this, and then we figure out again in terms of, we go and talk to the city to see if the city is interested in possibly contributing to this amount. Do we check and see if the city would be willing to do the drainage? In other words, fix the drainage per the specifications, the engineer specifications that we've received from Corbin, and I'm drawing a blank, Corbin's last name, but anyway, Corbin's is the gentleman who did the specifications. And then go from there to see what the city's contribution could be to this, because they're gonna benefit long-term with taxes in perpetuity on 6 different houses and lots. And then you guys would have to determine, as a board, the board would have to determine moving forward, you know, how you wanna deal with this property. Do you want to work with the housing authority? Do you want to, look at it like just putting it out for bids, the property? Do you wanna do an auction with a minimum bid or something along those lines, and a sealed bid with a minimum bid? there's a lot of different things. You could even just to make a determination, you know, that you wanna go with a certain contractor. Because again, per KSD, you know, guidelines, we can do with this property, we can go the direction we want to. We don't have to bid it, we don't have to do sealed bids, we don't have to do an auction.
Can any of you obviously know more about it than I do, can you guys give me a ballpark figure what that, if it's broke up in lots, what would be the potential value of it?
According to a real estate agent that I checked in with, it could be anywhere from 10 to 15,000 per lot. That's what they would have.
Assuming 6 lots?
6 lots. So
Okay,
let's
so
talk 60 to
90 grand.
90,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. And how we would attack, like, for example, the $17,000 bill to fix the drainage, we would, you know, if we are looking at fixing it for us, fixing it and doing, you know, paying it for us, we would look to go the higher end of that set $15,000, if you will, on those lots to help to cover the costs.
Right.
If you were to sell the property without fixing that drainage, then you may go on the lower end of those lots, let it become somebody else's problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And those numbers kind of match up with what you guys see around town when lots are sold? Not that I'm doubting Craig, I just,
No.
you're the housing authority, so I would assume you know.
Yeah, I mean, per lot, I feel like 10,000 is a little higher than, but yeah.
If you look at the property, you got 4 lots that are buildable right now, and you got 2 that are not buildable, okay? So you spend 17, now you got 6 that are buildable. That's basically what you're saying. You're gonna spend some money to make the other 2 buildable, so that you can get 2 more houses. So if you break that down, yes, there's 4 lots that probably will bring the 10, 12, maybe 15, but there'll be 2 that would bring 5. If you understand where I'm trying to get at. So in some essences, you would use that money basically to prop up those other 2 lots, which really needs to happen. Because years ago, that thing used to just meander all through there. They straightened it up and they made it where at least it was mobile, playable, and workable. If you go to put infrastructure in, which most of the infrastructure's in the alley, but that also, I think, cuts right through the alley and going. So by fixing the ditches, you actually fix the alley, you fix just the whole setup of everything. So somebody builds a house, everything's manageable. Otherwise, some people are gonna have a creek running through their yard type of deal. But the great part about those lots is they're in an awesome spot. That's gonna bring their prize value because they are right by the schools. If I could throw one thing out to you also, whatever you do as far as selling or whatever, please, I mean, if you go out for seal bid, you can do whatever you want, it's your choice, but ideally with housing and our needs, if you guys are out to just throw it out there, and Mike Skillington or bottom line built 1 house, we got 1 house. Okay, if you guys just hold back a little bit, work with Rhonda, you know, we get some of this stuff fixed, maybe run everything through her where, hey, we're gonna sell you a lot, but you gotta build a house. We put some stipulations on so that we don't have somebody come in here and buy the whole thing and then it sits there with 1 house on it. You know, we want to see a minimum of 4, if not 6 houses.
I think that was some preliminary discussion. Now, just so I understand this drainage, so it runs along the east side of the road and the east side of the road, right?
East side of the road, it goes
And
by,
it goes straight south.
goes straight south.
To the corner,
Yeah.
and then it goes back to the east again, or is this, where's it hook in at?
Yeah, it's
Back
gonna
here.
hook into that big drainage.
Hooks back into the drainage, so those parts there are gonna be unusable per se, there'll be easements. Cause, I mean, you're gonna have are you gonna put ditches there or just big?
It'll just be a nice ditch,
Yeah,
and
ditch.
somebody will have a culvert in there with
Yeah,
their
for
driveway.
their driveway.
Yeah, that's, okay.
Yeah, we'll still be able to,
Okay.
use it that way, so.
It
So I
won't
mean,
be-
those are big whistles there, so I didn't know how big that would, how
Well-
big that ditch is gonna be.
On the east side of it, they're really deep, on the west side,
Yeah.
they're not.
And if you, the way the drainage is, like, your big ditches out in front of the building is your storm,
Right, that's kind of retained.
and it only drains through, I believe it's a 12 or 15-inch pipe. So everything in front of their schools drains to that 12, 15-inch pipe, and that dumps into that ditch, and then the city has their little bit of water that comes from the west that dumps into that area, plus what's in the lots. So, as far as, yes, there's a lot of water, but it's managed already because of your holding ponds that are in front of the school. If it wasn't for them, yeah, there'd be a lot more water in a hurry because of the roof runoff. But where it is, it's pretty manageable, so we don't have to have this gargantuan ditch. We just have to cut where it drains. So, that makes sense.
It does.
I guess my biggest concern, and it sounds like it won't be, but I'm still gonna voice it, is if by moving the drainage, we open up 2 more lots, and it costs us 17 grand to do it, but we maybe only get 10 grand per each lot, that's a lot of work to do for us to bring in 3 grand. I know the goal of this is not for us to make money necessarily, but it's to build extra houses, and those 2 extra houses, obviously, there's a lot of value there. It's just as long as we think we can actually pull in enough to cover the $17,000. I'm not saying that's a high bid, I don't know, but, I mean,
I would agree with you, that the only thing I say is, if we don't spend it, we're just gonna sit there and look at those lots.
I agree, I'm just bringing it up, that's the only alarm bell that goes off my head.
Have we reached out to the community in that area and they're good with that style of cutting their,
That's what's all in that area already.
yeah.
There's no curb and gutter.
Big ditches,
You guys have all the
no
curb and gutter at school. Everything else south of there is no
All
curb and gutter
ditches,
until you
yeah.
get clear down here to
Yeah.
basically the old part of town.
And that's-
So there's really no negative about the people around there.
No, you're just doing what's already
Yeah, I
been.
mean, I think the only negative I've heard was putting in, 16 lots there instead of just 6.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I've heard people say you don't want to
Not a
put,
little tiny lots,
we need houses, so try to put little bitty ones in there, but I don't think we want to do that. I think we want to match that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Okay.
The housing we put in will match the housing in that neighborhood, single-family homes that are nice homes. We want it to match.
Yeah.
It'd be about 3 houses facing north, 3 houses facing south.
Yes.
That's correct.
So I guess if it's okay, now that we have a dollar amount to fix it and then the specs for that from the engineer, we would like to try to talk, Rhonda and myself would like to try to go and talk with the city.
Yeah, I'd
Talk
say-
more specific conversations with
Yeah.
Stan Luke, Jimmy Hugh, and then the
And
new
don't ask
streets
anybody.
guy, Kyle, is it Kyle, the new streets Kyle Dauber, is that right?
Yeah.
Have a conversation with them
Ask them
and
for all of it.
explain to them what we're thinking, maybe get on the city commission, or city council, county commission, city council's agenda, just to share with them this.
Yeah. If we can explain to them that their investment in it, how many years the property taxes on those houses would pay it off.
Right now, they're getting 0 right now from it.
Yeah, they're getting effectively done. I can imagine 6 houses being there would pay $17,000 in property tax off pretty quick.
Correct.
So,
Good luck.
what's that?
Good luck.
And guys, it would be a win-win-win for
It's a
everybody.
win-win. I agree with you 100%.
The
I just-
mayor was there
I
this
spent a
morning,
few
though.
meetings up
I
there.
understand.
trying to convince people.
I understand. We can make the argument, we
Not
can make
real-
them believe it.
Not real.
I understand.
Yeah.
We just happened to be there.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
I did hear it.
my thought's exactly right there. Go ask anybody if they'll help pay for it. City, county, I mean,
You
if,
did all you can, so.
yeah, I know that the county just sold some lots over by the meadows and they're still meadows right now. I don't know how we put a stipulation on somebody actually building.
That guy bought those, bids.
Yeah, that was
hard
auction.
to do anything, right?
Well, that's
That's what I'm saying. I want that avenue to be there to where
Yeah.
something happens.
Because there was somebody ready to build a house on that property.
Yeah.
That he's the one that brought it up and wanted to build a house there.
Yep.
Then they put it out and now it's set.
Yep.
But that's, every right, somebody to buy, whatever, that's their prerogative. But what I just don't wanna see that happen to these so much because we all know we need housing.
I agree.
We've been part of this community, I've been in meetings for 3 years about things that are coming, and it all comes back to housing. We can have all the greatest employment in the world, but we need housing.
Yes.
So, anyway,
So you need, motion just to.
No motion. motion, just let me know if it's okay, and then I'm just gonna keep you informed. It would be my goal by the August, at the latest, the September board meeting, to have something in place to get moving, dirt moving, earth moving, because September, October, November, hopefully we're getting a house started, you know, if not sooner.
Anybody have concerns with that?
I don't.
No, I think that's the right move.
I will keep you
Yeah,
guys
we just
informed.
need to keep digging for
Yeah,
money.
go ahead.
I mean,
Maybe we
keep
can
that
see
in.
it. That's a good way to keep it.
Yeah.
I think we
And
do
Mike,
have
everything you were
request
discussing, we have
money.
discussed it
Like,
already.
Cool.
So we're on the same page.
That's.
We have teachers that need places to
Well,
live.
2,800
Yeah.
is the 4,000 that, we paid 1,200, the commissioners paid 4, there's 2,800.
I think that we kind of decided that we were gonna do that, right? That was
Yes, we
Yeah,
we had a conversation about picking up a certain amount, but it's $2,800, I feel comfortable. We've gotten 6,200 of this already paid for, we got a lot of valuable information, we know what we need
yeah,
to
we
do
got
for it.
paperwork to do legitimate work.
So if it's okay,
Motion to that, or that paid money,
it's under 5,000, as long as I inform you guys of it, for something under 5,000.
Is that bid good for a certain duration of time, or is that good up until September? Because if there's no end date on that, then let's,
You talking the bid?
yeah, the bid, there's nothing on there saying
It's
this bid's
bid
good
whenever
for.
you decide to.
Okay. Rhonda and I will work, and maybe Bill, appreciate you coming, and Mike, appreciate you coming as well. I might include them in that meeting with everyone, since Bill, are you president of the housing authority? All right, I'm sure that's a very high paying job. Appreciate your community service. Appreciate your community service.
I would say, you know, you're talking about 4 home sites leaving it the way it is versus 6. I mean, personally, I think if you were to just build 4 with the way it's structured right now, it's not very appealing
I agree.
for that homeowner and for the people in the neighborhood. I think the extended value by doing the work is gonna be more than beneficial. I know the dollars are an issue, but.
I live a block south of there, I'm pretty concerned about the way it's gonna be, so. Yeah, I can see it from my front
I mean,
yard.
not just right down Osborne Street.
That's right.
Just right there, making bill.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
you
guys.
very much.
All right. That's all I have.
You can
Figure
figure
out
out
what
what
my
my
money
money are doing faster and dig that too, if you pull it off.
Talk to you tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay,
They
moving
have.
on from there.
Yeah, they'll.
They have.
Board reports from any board member.
So the calendar, are we going to revise the calendar to add those dates that we just voted on? Okay,
What we will do is we will designate them on our SO 66 report to the state, so that they know these are the dates that you all have agreed upon to do that. And I don't know if you have any other questions with regard to how that worked, but this year we got pretty close to the wire. We had an extreme winter.
yeah.
So what this will allow us to do is if we've designated, for example, 3 days, then the state will forgive 3 days. And that allows us to stretch that out. We learned that this year.
Great.
And so this is a method that districts use to designate days that we are actually in session. And we will report those then to the state on that report, and they will allow us to, gives us a little more leeway if we have another extreme winter.
More grace, okay.
And the SO 66 is superintendent's organizational report. It's what we do for county kids. It's what we did. It's a big, massive report we have to do before October 10th, I think it is. So, anyway.
So, if we're not revising the calendar, can we update the calendar that's currently out there and remove draft? Because the calendar that's out there
Yeah.
Sure.
On
Go
the
on to the-
on the website currently says
You will remove draft.
draft,
Yeah.
and so it looks like it's not our
Yeah, someone's questioning it, right?
real
If you're looking at
calendar.
it.
Well, I went to print it and I was like,
No, not a draft.
why does that still say draft?
Thank you.
On that. And then I had a question on I wanted to talk a little bit about, so I wasn't aware, there was a parent meeting for FBLA, I guess. I was out in the Ox building, didn't have phone service. came out, and I had 3 messages from parents. I guess there was a FBLA meeting for parents, like on the 24th, I believe it was. And we didn't get any information on it, but I didn't get back in contact with any of the parents, I guess, till after the meeting had happened, because I didn't get the messages till later. But it was, I guess, some discussion about, I don't know if any of you were aware of the meeting, or,
I didn't go to the meeting, I don't know.
I heard about it, but not as a school board member.
okay. There was just some information, so, I guess number one, again, like, when there's stuff that we might be contacted on from parents, that is like Friday note information that we might wanna have passed along. But it's something that we wanna look at, I think, for the future, for board policy, because I think that this is gonna be like maybe a question in the future too, on like how funds are appropriated or used or whatever, like when it comes to a national and things like that. There was a lot of question over that. And so I don't know if we need to look at that in policy, our policy going forward, and how we look at that.
Do you know the policy that maybe we're not following or lacks information? I'd be interested.
So, yeah, a couple of years ago, we made a change because we had, was it last year?
I think it was
Last
2
year, I
years
think.
ago?
Was it this last year? I don't know, but I know what you're talking about, like we had
Yeah.
a national event, and I think Taylor was talking about, there's lots of national events, but like actually school-funded national events. We want
Right.
to support those, and so we kind of did some policy juggling then, I don't know.
I
But
still,
and I think we remember when we had that discussion then, we knew we would have to kind of,
yeah, and we haven't ever gone back to
we
it.
haven't gone back.
I will add on to what you say, because this was something I was trying to figure out when we would bring up also, and I didn't know the appropriate time. It's not just us. To tell a story without mentioning names, someone that I work with has kids in the Waverly School District, and they have the same deal. And Waverly has a middle school FBLA. They qualified 20 kids for nationals, which sounds pretty easy to get into nationals when Waverly can send 20 kids. But they said they did not have the money to send them, and they were trying to get the school to, hey, pay for this now and we will raise the funds later to pay you back, and the school said, we don't have a credit card for you to use. So a parent put all of the plane tickets and all the hotels on their personal credit card without asking. And then when it was all said and done, the amount of money they said they had raised, there was a $5,000 difference between what happened. Basically, that parent's paying that $5,000. So it's not just us, it can be much worse than what we've seen, but I know there is a lot of confusion. And I don't think we have set the policy clear enough so that we can make sure the sponsors and the parents and associated with it understand. I know a lot of it is just confusion.
Yeah, because I think we weren't paying for anything for nationals before, and then when we had a bunch of kids qualify a couple years ago, we said we're gonna pay for hotel and, meal, what did we
No.
say?
Sponsors.
Vehicle transportation. by the
Transportation, vehicle transportation for the students, right?
Yes.
And so, and then we had said to go raise the funds on your own to figure out the rest or whatever. And then I think that comes into question of, well, then the rest of the funds. And so I think that we just need to iron those out, so then when it's time, then all those details are ironed out and there's not all this question, at the heat of the moment. I think I correlate it to outage. We talk about a lot of stuff ahead of time, because in the heat of the moment,
You want to go?
So we went through it either last year or 2 years ago with Matt Lambert, same exact deal, only Matt Lambert didn't realize that he had to get the funds. He thought the whole school was gonna pay for it all. And then they were shuffling at the last minute trying to get funds to send them, and they ended up doing that.
right?
And so I don't know if word did get carried down or whatever.
No, I think, so this time they had all the funds, they did all the fundraising, and then they, from what I was told, when I contacted the parents back, they were told that all of that money they fundraised, they had to turn over to the school.
They do.
And so there's confusion on that, because to me, that doesn't really make sense either. If we're not gonna pay for it, you go fund it yourself, but then when you fund it yourself, then you have to turn all that money to us. So,
Except if you're funding for, if the kids are funding for a project for the school,
Right.
then I mean, it's a little bit misleading maybe for the public out there, said, hey, I need $100 so I can go do this, and then the $100 doesn't go to that. I mean, so I think that's
I do.
probably the deal.
Yeah, I think
I'm
Christie's
with
the one
you.
that answered this.
so,
I-
yeah, I think there just needs to be like. some-
There is set out structure in the state statutes on how that works.
And I'm gonna let Christie speak here real quick, and I will speak briefly
Yeah.
too.
Okay,
I think that in this case, it is a little bit of a perfect storm. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
With the,
Yeah. not having a
Sponsor.
sponsor,
Mhm.
be the sponsor.
And so, I do believe that the parents were not given, accurate information. So in that, they did what they thought they should do and started, created their own, bank account. And any monies that are raised for any activity, any school district activity, should not go into a personal account, not prom money after prom, totally separate, that's not
Yes.
school related. But when we're talking activities, it should not go into a personal account. They shouldn't be collected and put into a personal account. We would not have known this except for, again, kind of a perfect storm. And so in order for us to follow our accounting guidelines, which are set forth by the state, and I don't have it in front of me, the state statute, but I can get it for you.
Yes.
No, yeah,
But-
we just need to, yeah.
But, we needed to account for those monies. Those monies were deposited then into the activity fund. The parents were then given access, they requested how much money they wanted.
Yes.
The parents were given that money back so that they could have access to it on their trip.
And
So
per
again,
board policy, any funds raised need to be deposited into our account within 24 hours.
any donations.
Any donations or anything like that. You want to account, you don't wanna have what happened, Bob mentioned with others, you don't wanna have money disappearing by accident, on purpose, whatever the case might be. You want that money in, because it's being raised under the
So,
premise.
Say that again, what'd you say?
You want the money to be deposited as soon as possible, because you want it to be accounted for, under the premise of you're raising it under FBLA for donations for the kids to go on.
But did you say under policy, it has to be within 24 hours?
Supposed to be
of
donations.
There is, for donations, once a donation is received, within 24 hours of the approval or receipt, I'll have to get the wording for you exactly, it has to be deposited into that activity account.
And it's a mere transfer, you get the money into the account, then the sponsors ask for it. This is what we need for this trip, for this, and this. They have receipts, everything's accounted for, that way the money is spent accordingly. Any additional or extra money that's not spent stays in that account for seed money for the next year. But it stays with the FBLA account or the FCA, or excuse me, the FFA account or whatever.
Christie, can you provide her with that policy later?
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's just that's a state statute though, we don't have
It's an account, it is state statute on how to monitor your activity funds.
okay.
And, then we do also have a policy, a school policy, and I'll give that to you guys.
And then,
But again, with this situation, it really, it kind of was the perfect storm, but I will also say this, is that we had a conversation earlier on in the day, and, with, the folks that were organizing, and we, said, let us do some checking and get back to you with regard to how that could be spent. And motion, that carried over maybe, and that is why maybe phone calls were made to board members instead of coming back to us and, talking to us about it, so.
Because the.
Yeah, I mean, it was, well, I had a phone call, a text message, it was 3 different parents, and an email from
Sure.
3 different, I mean, it was.
I got contacted too.
But, so any school activity except after prom has to be in a activity
Well, after
fund.
prom is not a school activity.
It has to be a activity fund. All the
Should be
funds
in a
raised
fund.
have to be in
So I'll give
an
you-
activity account.
Okay, and I'll give you, and the high school, you give the authority to the high school to manage those funds. So
Mhm.
today, you guys gave authority to the high school to
Yeah.
manage. And so when folks are raising money, those should come directly back to that activity. Now, with the, more kids qualifying for nationals, and things above and beyond what the normal school, or what the normal maybe state, you know, they're going beyond that. Some clubs are requesting an additional fund. For example, and I'll just give an example of FFA. FFA has a fund, FFA also has FFA Nationals. And they do specific fundraising for their nationals. That's up to the building principal, and it's up to their steward of those monies.
Yeah.
But, in my opinion, it should just basically, can I give my opinion?
Absolutely.
Yep, give your opinion.
In my opinion, any activity that the kids want to do, like, I mean, if they feel that they're gonna go beyond state, I think in the fall, it should be established by that sponsor to those kids that we will be doing this activity to raise money for the club, we will be doing this activity to then raise money for, if we were to go to nationals. And obviously, there's no guarantee that, but to establish that up front, there
Right.
should be, all of those expectations are spelled out. Now, is that a policy that the board wants to do? I don't know. Or is that
Well,
just,
So we have a lot of new staff, right? We have a lot of new teachers at the high school. We talked about this, like, a few months ago or whatever. So are we educating our new sponsors, our new young staff of how that all
So
works?
with this situation, we showed up to work on that day. We didn't expect to have to deal with this because we thought this was all taken care of. So then it became a Christie.
But I mean, in the fall,
No,
are we?
I'll get there in a second. It became a Christie, me, and Jen Plummer issue. All of a sudden, we're dealing with the sponsors. That in turn created our conversations that we are going to have some serious conversations, not only with our new high school administration, with also their office staff, with Christie, myself, and Jen, but then also all of those people that have sponsorship opportunities, whether they're coaches, sponsors for FFA, FBLA, whatever the case might be. We're gonna have very, very strong, firm discussions,
Well, I don't think
conversations.
it's strong and firm. I think it's
Well,
just
I mean,
educating, right? It's just
Education,
educating
well,
them,
okay,
right?
maybe
It
I
doesn't
chose
have
my
to be
words
strong
wrong.
and firm. It's
Well,
just
We're gonna
giving
share,
them
we're
the
gonna share
knowledge.
information.
I mean, they don't know what they don't
Yeah.
know, so.
We're
it's
gonna share
just-
It
information.
does almost seem like we need a little handbook
Yeah.
of the black and white rules of how they need to handle it. And I know that it's probably out there, but is the average sponsor gonna go digging for it? I don't know how hard that would be to provide something like that. And, I mean, I do, with this specifically FBLA Nationals thing, I do think we need to maybe spend a little more time, like Lucas said, just revisit it and make sure that we have it lined up the way we think. I do know, like, you talked about how it seems weird that they raise the money and then they have to give it to us and they have to spend it. I think the main reason behind that is if we didn't do that, you would have parents all over the county with raised money that was raised in the name of the school.
Right.
And then, let's say they raise 10 grand and they go and they spend 8, and now that parent's just got 2 grand. I would love to think they would come in and say, hey, we had 2 grand extra, but that's in their personal account. That's not their money at this point.
Right, right.
So,
So
I
then
mean,
ultimately,
that does make.
and then ultimately, we are responsible for the accounting of it, because it is
You know,
an act.
it
A
just
school
happens.
activity.
So
That-
that's,
yeah.
so that's why we requested receipts, so that those can then be reconciled by the high school, and then any additional monies left over would then go towards next year. Now, how they want to address that, how maybe the FBLA sponsor or whatever wants to address that, does that go to the club as a whole, does it go to, then if they decide to do another nationals account per se, does it go towards giving them a head start for
I
this next
did,
year?
did this happen
Yeah.
quite some time back on prom, for high school prom, and they collected a bunch of money, and then they said, we're taking it, we're gonna go spend it, we're not gonna give it to the next class or whatever, is that the same
I
type
was
of?
not involved with that, I can't speak to that.
I don't remember.
I think really what we wanna see from our side is that,
Yeah,
this, like you
Yeah,
said,
I
perfect
just
storm
wanna-
is,
Yeah.
I think we all wanna see, like, how we're gonna make sure that the
Right.
people that are making these
know what's
decisions
going on.
know what's going on in the future.
Right, I just
And how are
wanna,
we getting the information they
yes, I just wanted to, yeah, like, do we have a set way,
Good
Yeah.
this is the policy, or these are the rules, and like,
And
does
like you said, the
everyone
turnover
know
is
and
incredible.
understand? Right, and we have a huge turnover in
Right.
high school,
Yeah.
like,
well,
And-
we have a lot of new.
most of the
people.
time when you're dealing with a parent in that situation, they're already stressed out over the situation. It's probably the first time they've had to deal with the school and money, and they're just like, this doesn't make sense to me, something sounds like it's below board here, and, freak out kind of thing. I'm not saying anybody did, but you know what I'm getting at. It's
They were
easy to
doing-
get emotional.
They were doing what they were told.
Right,
Yeah.
And we
right.
understood that.
So,
Yeah, no, I just was asking, cause I had had phone calls, I didn't know, so I was, I
It's
knew we.
important that communication stays open, because I think that would have been resolved in the morning. If the communications would have went back to the school instead of spinning around and around in a circle with, amongst the parents. If they would have just come back to the school and been squared away in the morning. And you would have never got called.
So can we give Craig an action to provide this information to the staff at their pre-staff meetings
Yeah.
directly at the high school to say,
Yeah,
we will cover this policy with them so they know and understand
yeah.
what
'Cause
their
we were- I mean,
expectation
just
is, right?
Today, we
Well-
voted on some new sponsors,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and I chose my words, they didn't choose them as well as they should have. We are going to be educating everybody. And I have a text message here at 10:52 saying, just please call me, I have some good news regarding this trip. And I never did. Again, at 10:52, we had this resolved. We just think people got busy and just didn't have, and again, this
No, I
was
just
something
didn't know
we
if we
came to
needed
work.
to do something as a board as far as policy or, changing how that looks, where I know we did before, so.
I will share with you
Yeah.
also state and national travel procedures. This is information that was shared with you from Taylor and Jody that was created last year. I'll share this with you in my Friday notes, just as a reminder. So anyway,
another piece, Craig, I don't wanna keep beating a dead horse, but I think we need to make sure we cover this with the sponsors ahead of time, is the difference between these clubs and these groups and the athletics. Cause I know I've been asked that question, well, how come the football gets this or basketball gets this, but we don't get this thing? So just explaining that that's Keisha, that's a totally different set of rules, and,
FBLA qualification.
we can do that.
I don't know exactly which ones fall under, Johnny. I just know that some of them
When you
don't.
look at Scholars Bowl, and it's a Keisha sanctioned activity, I think FBLA, or I don't know if FBLA or I don't know which.
I don't think the national
No, they
things
don't,
are.
okay.
None of the national.
FBLA, FFA, FCCLA are not CASHA.
But even still, they don't, the nationals competitions don't fall under KSHA.
Correct.
I agree, and I think we just need to clearly communicate that we
Right.
fund everything up to state, anything above that, you're on your own, right? So it's no surprise to
and how it works.
anybody.
Because I'm sure that's what it was, is I'm on my
It's
own,
just
okay,
how
I'm
it
on
worked,
my own.
yeah.
Yeah, they
It's
just
that.
thought it's-
I thought I was on my own.
Yeah, we just need to,
Why is this
make it clear. Sorry, Lindsay.
We will.
I was just gonna say, I know that, like, I have recently asked Jen to come to my back-to-school staffing to teach people how to do requisitions again, and I know that they have talked about things like different handbooks or pieces, so whether it's a one page or, I mean, she sent me 2 pages to help walk them through, so I'm sure that as they sit down, and I know that in the past, Taylor has, and I'm sure, Arian will, they've met with coaches and sponsors of different things, and this can just be something else that's just added directly into that discussion.
Yeah, just a simple,
But don't skip over it.
Right.
Here's your packet of paper, look at all this.
Yeah, read it all.
And in 2 months, when you need the information and you can't find it, call the central office.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I lost mine.
And you're on the
Ground
board
rules.
reports.
Or A's, ground rules.
I lost it, so,
You have something?
Yeah, I did. I had a conversation with a couple parents that reached out to me, and I noticed something too, that, I think we need to reinforce with our staff at these meetings also, that Parent Square is the approved communication app for district, school, and teacher communications. And I think that maybe I'm wrong, does that fall under sponsors also? That Parent Square, because I think some parents or some sponsors may be using the band app or a group text or whatever the case may be, so we just need to make sure that
Sure.
we reinforce to our admins and sponsors that Parent Square is the one and only approved method of communication.
Yeah.
So,
Seems to work pretty good.
what's
I
that?
like
Yeah,
it.
parents work.
Yeah, but
Nice.
I have a high schooler and he was getting notifications, what is that for? Where these are notifications from the band app from different sponsors, right? And I said, wait, I thought we were using Parent Square
Well,
to communicate with
I don't,
these activities, so.
I'm not a fan of hearing that teachers are necessarily sending texts to individual high school students either. I don't think any of them are doing it without of any ill will, but it just does bring into question, like, you know, what's going on here. Whereas if it's through a school sponsored thing, it's a little more, you know, above board, to keep using the same phrase.
And, you know, if people don't like how to use it or know how to use it, and sorry, Craig may throw you out here, but maybe Craig is willing to show them how to use this application and how to set up groups and how to set up communication links to where that one approved communication is Parent Square, not a band app or a different application that they're using for it.
And we did last fall, and we will again this fall, and we'll reiterate that that's what is the official use. Some of them for many years used Band and Remind and that, because they are free apps and they're, you know, as, even though we've said this is what we're using.
Yeah.
I mean, I just found out, today that, somebody is using Remind Band, and we'll talk with them.
Yes.
So it's something again for the kickoff meeting to reinforce with the admins and sponsors.
Craig, when you have those meetings to cover these things with sponsors and whatnot, and coaches, are the non-school, non-certified employees there for that, or do they have their own separate meeting, or?
They should be if they're a sponsor, yes.
Or at coach.
I would just hate for,
Sponsor or coach.
Sponsor
I would
coach.
hate for somebody who's already less informed of some of the school policies to miss that, when they probably need it as much as anyone does.
We have an administrator retreat on Wednesday. We'll go over some of these things. They will put it in their back to school informational meetings as well, and we'll get those things just brought up here. Craig will be in that meeting with me on Wednesday, so thank you.
Okay, item 8A, review operating procedures. Has everybody got a chance to read those?
Yep.
Are there any questions about those? If we're all in agreement, then we need a motion to establish the ground rules.
Those are unchanged from previous years?
Yeah, they are mentioned.
Yes.
They look like it to me, but.
Yes, they're very similar. Yes, exactly the same.
I'll make a motion to establish ground rules as presented for working with superintendent, as discussed and noted in the official minutes of this meeting.
Second.
Motion second, discussion. Hearing none, submit your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Any questions about that? Just a general discussion, talking about board goals, board retreat, board policies.
I'll throw out some dates for potential 2 evenings like we've done in the past, unless you want to do something different. I know Outage, we want to try to do it earlier in August, early September, if at all possible, I'm guessing. So I can do that.
Oh, you're not.
No, I can do that. I'll send it out in Friday
Okay.
with the potential other, for the BES work session as well.
Is that, down under other issues, there's some statements that almost look like questions. Are those gonna be included in your email? Will be asked at the meeting to suggest other issues that we should discuss and, you know, that sort of stuff. Is that gonna be included in your dates email?
I can, yes.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, I don't have any ideas off the top of my head, but I think it's a good
I think
idea.
it's a good idea to come up with some
Great
ideas.
idea.
Somebody mark that down.
Yeah. I got you.
Nothing comes to mind. I just read the question.
Okay,
Yep.
so we don't need a motion on anything there?
No. Budget status report, Craig, you want to just kind of summarize that real quick?
Right, this again, will look very similar to what you've seen in the past. Again, big thank you to Christy for sharing information in terms of evaluation piece, that chart. If you'll notice, like we talked about, there's assessed valuation due to Wolf Creek, the plant. It fluctuates, it corrects every so often, 3 to 6 years is what Angie Kirshner has shared with us here, and you can kind of see the different valuations. So if you look at 22-23 is 586 million and change, and 23-24 is 546 million and change. Now it's back up to 557 million for this past school year, and they're anticipating at 597 million and change. We'll know more on November 1st when they certify the final about the assessed valuation. But you can see we had a correction. That was in 23, 24, when assessed valuation added it down.
So this is the house.
That would probably have been the time to try to run a bond issue when it was lower, but anyway, that's the way it is. So this year it's gonna be quite a bit higher, over 40 million higher. There's other information here, you've seen this information before. Some of it's historical in nature. Again, I don't know if there's anything that, if there's something, please let me know. We'll address.
So we do have to do the resolution for the local option budget, so that's in there.
Correct. And that resolution for local option budget, we did share with you, looking at going from 32 last year. The state average is this year's gonna be 32.3. We can go to the maximum of 33. We go to maximum of 33. That additional money that we're looking to raise, it's approximately $80,000. It's 0.7%. That is what we're going to look to put towards salaries. That is towards salaries, to increase our staff salaries. That's towards our, it goes in our local option budget, but that focus is towards salaries.
Yep.
And it's in perpetuity when we go to that 33 LOB. We've never gone to the max on that LOB, but it's 0.7%, and it raises and generates approximately, it all depends on the legal max.
So we're looking to raise it to make up that difference,
Correct, to go to 7.
instead of making it a
0.7 or
budget.
0.7%
Making changes in the
on our
budget.
LOB.
This was the final piece that allowed us to roll up to the nice round number for base pay, right?
40, yes, for negotiations, correct. Yes. So
Okay.
a lot of districts are at that 33 max on their local option budget, the 33%.
So, go ahead and read this and we'll see if there's any other questions. Resolution to exceed statewide average for local option budget. USD District 244, Coffee County, Kansas. Resolution be it resolved that the Board of Education of the above named school district shall be authorized to adopt a local option budget in each school year at an amount not to exceed 33% of the amount of total foundation aid. The local option budget authorized by this resolution may be adopted unless a petition in opposition to the same, signed by not less than 10% of the qualified electors of the school district, is filed with the county election officer of the home county of the school district within 40 days after publication of this resolution. If the petition is filed, the county election officer shall submit the question of whether adoption of the local option budget shall be authorized to the electors in the school district at an election call for the purpose of, or at the next general election as is specified in the Board of Education of the school district. Certificate. This is certified that the above resolution was duly adopted by the Board of Education of Unified School District Number 244, Coffee County, Kansas on the 14th day of July, 2025. Any questions on that? Okay, pass this around.
Need a motion on this one?
We do.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 07142025 as presented to exceed the statewide average for the local option rate.
Is there a
Which
second?
takes us to the
Motion second, further discussion? Hearing none, submit your vote.
Mine's just spinning, sorry. This is really spinning. Refresh.
Reopen. Go.
Second.
I never noticed that it says reopen, like you can go back in if you click the wrong
Change it.
button. Yeah, I
Yeah,
never
you
noticed
can
that.
go and change.
Motion carries 5-1.
That gives you like a grace period.
Yours.
11A, yes.
Okay, everybody had a chance to read the negotiation? So with that, we need to ratify.
Yes, I need a motion.
Okay, there you go. So motion to ratify the 2025-2026 negotiated agreement with the Burlington Unified Teachers Association.
Second.
Motion seconded. Discussion? No discussion, submit your vote. How about that? You stand one. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Motion carries 6-0. Executive session regarding personnel.
I don't have a need unless anybody does.
Okay. Classified staff pay increase.
What we're looking to do is add $1 an hour to all of our classified staff. It's a nice raise compared to what we were able to do last year, and we thank them.
Craig, you wanna give me back in here?
I'll move to increase returning classified staff wages by $1 per hour for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Motion second, discussion.
I'd just like to ask, is it appropriate for me to vote on this since it,
That is up to you.
It's up to you.
can declare a conflict, or you can vote.
I just voted to ratify the contract.
huh?
I just voted to ratify the
I
contract.
understand, I just wanted to bring it up, that way if anybody had a question like, or a comment, they can say it at this point.
It's okay.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Any further discussion? Submit your vote.
Go see.
Increase the paraprofessional salary schedule.
So this would change their starting base to $15.25 an hour instead of $14.25 an hour. This was discussed at the superintendent's cooperative meeting with the other two district superintendents, and Lindsay brought this up for consideration. So it's the $14.25, they're looking at this year to move it to $15.25 for starting pay. We don't do this every year,
Say last year we did not increase the base pay.
right?
The year before we did.
Okay, accept the motion.
I'll make a motion to add $1 to each step of the paraprofessional salary schedule for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Motion seconded, discussion? No discussion, submit your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Classified directors pay increase.
I'll move to increase the returning classified director salary for Margarita Solano and Courtney Finneslin to by 5.29% for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Motion seconded. More discussion? Hearing none, submit your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Licensed nurses pay increase, most increase returning licensed nurses salary for Laurie Horner and Laura Keegan by 5.29% for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Motion seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, submit your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Special education related service staff pay increase.
Basically, this just mirrors the increase of the other.
Correct.
Motion to allow step movement and $1,800 on the base of the special education related services salary schedule for the 25-26 school year.
Is there a reason this one is in a dollar amount, not a percentage?
Yes, because the teacher salary schedule was raised by 1,800, so then this was raised by the 1,800.
Okay,
And then we did seven.
okay, thank you.
Good question, thank you.
Mary?
I need a second.
I,
Motion seconded. Further discussion? Submit your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Administrator pay increase, most increased salary of Darla Long, Matt Spring, Lindsey Graff, Craig Coolman, and Craig Marshall by 5.29% for the 25-26 school year.
Second.
Motion seconded, discussion? Submit your vote. Motion carries 6-0. Annual wage salary review schedule for 25-26 school year.
I'll move to approve the annual wage salary review schedule adjustments for the 2025-2026 school year.
Second.
Motion seconded. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, submit your vote. Come up. Other. Motion carries 5, 1 abstention. Okay. Lucas and Service Government Relations Network recommendation 2526.
Second.
Motion seconded, any further discussion?
Thank you, Lucas. You're welcome.
Switch vote.
If it passes.
Sorry, that, I know it was loud. Who made the motion, please?
James?
I did.
James made the motion. So, okay. Johnny, yours is schooling. Thank you.
Congratulations, you're in order.
Yes.
Yes.
Party afterwards.
506. 2526 handbook approvals.
There are some handbooks here for approval, and then I'm working with our high school administration since they are now, we have Ariane on site, Seidel is on site. And so now I'm meeting with Mr. Baldwin, Seidel, on the handbook information, activities information, that type of thing. So they will be approved with some other handbooks in August. They're coming. Thanks for your patience.
I appreciate a new set of eyes looking at it.
We are.
And just for the record, the one's PPP is policies, procedures, and practices, and it's special ed handbook. It's on the forefront of conversations at the state level, so I thought I should get ahead of the game and make sure we.
Perfect,
Thank you.
Motion to approve the 2025-2026 handbooks for staff and students as presented.
Second. Oh, go ahead, Selena got it.
Do we still have a fourth grade position open?
Fourth grade position?
No.
Okay. Page,
Is it showing open?
it does.
We'll make that
Just
adjustment.
Gracie.
Yeah, it's highlighted. Pretty easy to find.
Ha, no, it should be, we'll make that adjustment.
Right above where
I see it.
the
Page 4.
the daily schedule is.
So the middle school one had a lot of highlights on it too, so I don't know.
And I think those highlights were his changes,
That's why I read it.
Just changes.
so that's for Darla.
Yeah, we'll get that adjusted.
I forgot where who made the motion.
Bob and John Ayers is,
Still.
sorry, I'm not sure.
Motion carries 6-0.
So we did okay on the tractor bid.
Well, I think so too.
I think that turned out all right.
A lot of interest in the
Yeah.
tractor bid.
What I was happy with is how many bids came in.
Yeah, there was.
That was really good.
Yes.
Yep.
And again, the reason we do not need this tractor any longer, because we did invest in a skid steer that has been tremendous, so her.
I did that about 3 years ago.
Right, yeah, it's been a tremendous asset, so we don't really have a need for this tractor.
Most accepted, except Danny Heskey bid of $5,200 for the John Deere 5200 tractor. I wonder if that's why 5200.
Maybe.
It matches. All right. Motion second, any discussion? Switch your vote.
I like that I went to somebody local that will.
Yeah, no, he knows that he's good too.
Yes, he is.
He'll put her to good work.
He's got a business.
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love to have these new ones start someday.
Motion carries 6-0. Board policies. Annual agenda planning.
This should look familiar from years past, and very similar schedule.
I've already got this in my account.
I did too. I actually went through to make sure it was right in my calendar. And I didn't see any holiday conflicts.
Okay,
We need to pass that. Yeah, motion.
so motion?
Motion to approve the 2025, you have a question, Selena?
No, I think, no, we're
Motion to approve the 2025-2026 annual agenda planner as presented.
Second.
Motion seconded, discussion.
Oh, I do have a question.
Oh.
That's where it was, sorry. I
Alright,
was like,
discussion, go ahead.
Which one?
the linkage for the graduates, January 12th is normally too late. We've had
We didn't
it,
talk about that.
we've had it earlier when they're home on Christmas break, before they go back to school a lot of times.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that.
So,
Wouldn't December 8th be before Christmas break though?
it's January 12th.
Right,
You know,
if we
could
move
do
it up a
January
month.
5, a separate meeting on the 5th, it'd just be the
Just
alumni
be on us.
linkage on the 5th, if you would like.
December 8th is, I think there's still a lot of them.
Well, they- a lot of them-
That's what I'm saying, I think if we move it up, we're gonna have the same problem, but on the other side.
Yeah, I think what we've done in the past
Just
is
do it a
we've
week
had
before the
a
meeting,
week
right.
before the meeting, just like had a special
Okay,
linkage
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't, it's just easier to
That's
catch
fine.
them
I think that's,
What is that?
We got 4 participations.
It's a good idea.
if we
We
can.
should,
So are we saying January 5th then?
Yes.
Is everybody good with that, or I don't know what you all think?
No,
I think it's way better than a week later. I mean, like you said, the kids are gonna be gone.
I think it's way better than having to con 1 or 2 kids to come call in, so,
So, and the motion to,
especially when it's my kid.
And what was the date again?
January 5th would be a week earlier.
so who made the original motion?
I think it was me.
You want to amend?
So I'll amend it. Yeah, let me back out and,
Sorry.
get to that. No worries. I'm glad you got that.
I was trying to catch.
Okay, motion to approve the 2025-2026 annual agenda planner as presented with one adjustment to the graduates coming in on January 5th.
How about I amend it to motion to approve the 2025-2026 annual agenda planner as amended to convene alumni linkage.
I don't want to say
January
it.
Sounds
Jay?
Sounds perfect.
Say yes.
First time she's ever.
Go
done
ahead,
that.
put him on the
It
spot.
sounded like she repeated you
That's
exactly
what you said.
Motion to approve 2025-2026 annual agenda planner as amended
To convene
to convene
the alumni linkage
the alumni linkage
to
On
January 5th.
January 5th. I do.
And it was the second. I'll second.
Sorry.
Any discussion? Submit your vote.
You should have seen the look on her face when you were rambling on.
Where we at, James?
I'm waiting.
It passes 6-0.
Okay, I don't have it on mine. Anyway, motion carries 6-0. Closing items. Debrief.
Appreciate all the good conversation tonight.
Good meeting.
It was good.
Yeah. I agree.
I think the staff should be happy, so,
Yeah.
and, so thank you all for coming. So, meeting adjourned.
All right, thank you guys.